Rejection feels final. When someone turns you down, dismisses you, or says they're not interested, the natural reaction is to argue, to prove your worth, to demand an explanation. Most people can't handle silence after rejection. They rush to fill the gap with apologies, second chances, or desperate attempts to be noticed again. But when you stay silent, truly silent, you shift the balance in a way that unsettles the very person who rejected you. At first, they feel powerful. They believe they've closed the door, ended the story, and placed you in the past. They expect pleading, emotion, or attempts to win them back. And when none of that comes, when you respond with calm stillness, an uncomfortable question begins to echo in their mind. Why isn't he chasing me like everyone else? Silence unsettles because it's not the usual script. Most people crave attention, and when it's taken away, they scramble to get it back. Your silence after rejection communicates something subtle but strong, that your sense of worth was never tied to their approval. You are not broken. You are not begging. You are moving forward as though nothing has been lost, and this unsettles them because it forces them to see that their rejection didn't control you. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus said that it's not what happens to you, but how you respond that matters. When you meet rejection with silence instead of chaos, you protect your dignity. You send a message, not with words, but with presence, that you are not defined by anyone's acceptance. And in time, that silence grows louder than any argument you could have made. Days pass, weeks pass, and slowly the power shifts. The one who rejected you begins to feel the absence. The quiet makes them wonder, did I misjudge him? Did I underestimate his value? Why doesn't he care? That wonder becomes doubt, and that doubt becomes discomfort. Without intending to, your silence becomes a mirror reflecting back their decision, and sometimes that reflection stings more than any words could. What they thought was rejection of you begins to feel like rejection of themselves. The human mind is not comfortable with loose ends. We crave closure, and when closure doesn't come, it lingers like an unfinished sentence. Your silence after rejection is exactly that, an unfinished sentence. They expected drama, questions, or at least some attempt at validation. Instead, they are left with nothing. No chase, no explanation, no emotional chaos to reassure them of their importance. Just space, and in that space, their own mind becomes their enemy. At first, they may rationalize, he's just hurt, he'll come back, or he's pretending not to care. But when the days stretch into weeks and your silence remains, those rationalizations weaken. Doubt begins to whisper, what if he really doesn't need me? What if I wasn't as important as I thought? What if I made the wrong choice? This is the hidden power of silence. It makes them confront themselves. Rejection is often used as a way to control, to feel superior, to hold power over another. But silence takes that power away. You are no longer performing for them. You are no longer orbiting around their attention. Instead, you are centered, composed, unbothered. That composure unsettles them more than anger ever could. And here's the irony. While they may have rejected you to preserve their sense of control, it's your silence that begins to control the narrative. It plants a seed of curiosity, then doubt, then regret. They start checking to see if you've moved on. They look for signs of your reaction. They scroll, they wonder, they replay conversations in their head. The rejection that once felt like closure slowly turns into an open wound. The Stoics would say this is not about revenge. It's about mastery of yourself. By choosing silence, you are not punishing them. You are protecting you. You refuse to hand them your dignity wrapped in desperate words. You refuse to let their decision dictate your worth. And while you rise above, they are left to wrestle with the silence they never expected. Over time, that silence becomes unbearable, not because of what you did, but because of what you didn't do. And that is how your silence, steady and unshaken, slowly begins to kill the illusion of control they once thought they had. What most people never realize is that silence is not emptiness, it's presence. It's the presence of strength, of self-control, of an inner life so rich that no external rejection can disturb it. And this presence is impossible to ignore. While others crumble, explain, or fight for validation, you do nothing. Yet in doing nothing, you do everything. You stand out because stillness is rare in a noisy world. Slowly, they begin to notice the contrast. The people who once fought for their attention seem predictable, easy to control, and even boring. But your silence lingers like a shadow they can't shake off. It follows them into quiet moments. It makes them replay the choice they made. It whispers in the background of their thoughts. Why didn't he react? Why didn't he need me? And here's where the paradox reveals itself. Silence after rejections doesn't just preserve your dignity, it creates attraction. Not necessarily romantic attraction, but a deeper pull. Because human beings are drawn to what they can't fully understand. Your lack of reaction makes you mysterious, and mystery is powerful. While others expose their neediness, you show restraint. While others seek validation, you live as though you already have it. From a Stoic lens, this is freedom. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that other people's opinions cannot touch his soul unless he allows them. Your silence demonstrates that same principle. You are untouchable. Their rejection didn't destroy you because you were never built on their approval in the first place. And over time, this untouchability becomes painful for them. They may not admit it, but they feel the weight of your absence. They realize they expected you to orbit around them, but instead you walked away without noise. And in that walk, you showed them something they weren't prepared for, that you are whole on your own. That realization cuts deep. It forces them to confront the truth they tried to avoid. That rejection was not power over you. It was a reflection of their own limitations. And the longer your silence holds, the louder this truth becomes, until it begins to erode the certainty they once had in their choice. In the end, silence is not about revenge, nor is it a tactic to win someone back. It's about alignment with yourself. It's about choosing peace over noise, dignity over desperation, and strength over reaction. When you remain silent after rejection, you are sending a clear message, not to them, but to yourself, that your value doesn't rise or fall based on who accepts or rejects you. And that choice, that calm discipline, is what unsettles them most. Because while they may have believed rejecting you would leave you broken, your silence shows the opposite. It shows that you were never dependent on their approval. It shows that you are governed by principle, not by impulse. And it shows that your life continues forward with or without them. For the Stoic, this is the ultimate victory, not in conquering another person, but in conquering the self. Because the one who controls his tongue, his emotions, and his reactions controls his world. And that kind of power is undeniable. So if you've been rejected, remember this. You don't need to argue, beg, or prove anything. Let your silence speak for you. With time, It will echo louder than any words you could ever say. It will remind them of what they lost, while reminding you of what you've gained: freedom, strength, and unshakable peace. That is how your silence, steady and mindful, becomes the loudest voice in the room.